Right, so this is the land. So this is the old, what was a stable, then was our office and guest bedrooms, and then this is our sort of just under an acre.
It's a lovely view, isn't it? What's going on over here? These viaduct, viaduct?
So this was a railway line. There was a railway line that ran from Banbury through to Cheltenham. So we've moved into a temporary porter cabin while we demolish all of that, and then that will all move back into the cottage later.
So the cottage becomes office,
Yeah,
office
and
is temporary
bedrooms.
there, and this is going to be home.
The thing about the site is that in order to really get any sort of volume here, we needed to keep the impact as low as possible, partly to do with that impact on the openness and character of the landscape, and partly to do with the conservation area. So a very tricky piece of planning and design because it's so constrained. Then you've got arguably a little bit of flooding down there. You've got overhead power lines. You've got access issues. I mean, every single thing that you would like as an obstacle is here. But then the prize
is that view.
And this is a
And
nature
this location.
reserve. This is a nature reserve.
Fantastic.
Running all the way
Is
down
that common
there.
land as well?
No, that's just a nature reserve owned by BBOUT, a local nature charity.
So that will never be developed?
No, that's all done. Nothing can happen there.
The topography is a challenge as well because
Yeah.
this is a very steeply sloping site. You've
Yeah.
got a small plateau here,
Yeah.
and then it drops away at 40 degrees? It's really quite
and this,
steep.
We actually reduced it. It was even steeper. So, but what that is, the way that I saw it is, that's an opportunity because it means we can effectively dig down and back the building up against the bank, keep the ridge heights down and increase the volume without visually increasing the massing on the edge of the village.
Clever,
So
very
that
clever.
was really that actually
Is a gift.
is what makes the scheme
Because
possible.
otherwise it would be basement.
Yep.
If you're not going to make the building any taller than the existing ridge, you'd
Yep.
have, if to make it any bigger, you'd have had to go basement.
Exactly.
But I take it if you're going to dig down and cut in,
Yep.
then this area gets moved away
Yep.
and the ground floor is below where we're standing now.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the start. That was the premise. So let's go down and have a look because it's evolved over time. There's a little stream that runs through here, which thankfully is not a designated watercourse. It is an ordinary watercourse, which I didn't really know a great deal about until now, and now I know about.
So what's the distinction between dedicated watercourse, ordinary watercourse, river, main river?
Yeah, so anything that's a designated watercourse is effectively is controlled by the Environment Agency. Anything that is just an ordinary stream is controlled by the local county council and has much lower thresholds of requirement, much less interest around flooding. So there is a small stream just over the valley, over the hill there, that floods into the village. That is being taken on as a designated water. So they weren't that bothered.
Right.
So we have got permissions to put temporary culverts. We're actually changing the route of the river because it was straightened in the 70s to give more pasture. So we're going to introduce the wines back into it, open it out to improve the wildlife. So again, it's all part of creating a story that says this is a sustainable dwelling and planning is positive, is supportive of sustainable development, if you can say
So
that.
lots of people get a planning permission with a very limited residential curtilage.
Yep.
You're in that situation.
Yep.
We're standing in a piece of ground here that's mown
Yep.
and looks and feels like a very nice piece of garden for all
Yes.
intents and purposes.
Yes.
What's the distinction between the two? Kids are obviously playing in this part as well. And is there a way of changing that in the future?
We are getting a fairly tight area around the front of the new building, 3 metres wide. And we have to show a clear delineation, a clear marker between what is amenity land and what is...
So a fence of some sort,
No,
presumably?
we are actually
No?
showing a 200 mil high ha-ha edge.
Okay.
That's all we need to show.
Clever. So it feels, for all intents and purposes,
Yep.
the planning status maybe, this is pasture,
Yep.
but visually you'll still get to enjoy it,
Yep.
and so you'll feel like you're in the
Yep.
setting of a much bigger plot.
And crucially, they can control spread because there's this line and a detail of what that line is made of and how it's a permanent line that if you start moving outside of it, they can go, wait a second,
It's
you're
recorded.
you're going, and that's all they want.
Yeah.
They want to just control.
Mark in the ground, line in the ground.
Exactly.
So talk me through how you're going to get to this new
Yeah.
property and what you've got in the way of services.
Okay, and the short-term plan is we'll walk. We walk for years, it's fine. And to be honest with you, if that's the price to pay, I don't mind that. We've got power to the cottage, we've got water to the cottage. It's parasitical, if you like. This building connects straight back to the cottage, as it does now,
So
with a heat main,
no,
and the heating actually comes from the cottage. So there's a completely
so there's no additional costs for infrastructure on this project because you're building in the garden, effectively.
One new connection to mains, upgraded connection. That is on mains at the moment, but through a macerator. And we're putting a much bigger sewage pump, effectively, because we're below the drains here. And we're going to make a new sort of tack into the drains which run across the common between the cottage and the house.
How much is that going to? That's a job for the local water utility company?
No, we can do all the work. It's just a license. So it's a £450 developer's connection. I
Not
think
too
it
bad
is.
at all.
No, and then we obviously have to do the work, but that's all part of the drainage costs.
Another thing that people often have to face is overhead cables. And,
Yes.
and here you are with what look like quite substantial.
Yes.
They're not.
They're high voltage.
Yeah, they're high voltage. So
Yeah, they are.
does
This
that?
is low voltage, where we've managed to shoot. This
Yeah.
is high voltage. Now, this has been an issue. What happened here is there were way leaves, so they have to have agreement to have high voltage or any voltage cables going over land. They had way leaves in place for the posts further down the field. They didn't have a way leave for this post here.
Even though that's got
Or
the
their
pole-mounted
'cause
transformer.
They thought it
Yeah,
was on the common land,
right.
and it isn't.
It's on you.
It's on my land, and arguably it's on my common land as well. So I've written to them, and we are working together. All of this will go for no cost, which is
That
extraordinary.
is extraordinarily lucky.
Yeah.
But looks to me like there's three-phase power coming off that pole-mounted transformer, which means that you could have access, if you wanted to, three-phase electricity on your land already, which is a bonus, surely.
I could, yes. I don't need it because the heating's biomass from the main cottage, and then it's near passive, so it just doesn't need that energy demand. So I think we're fine. They're going to reroute it through underground over to that. There's a sewage pumping station over there, and they're going to come under the ground right across the site here. But
no
that's
expense. So
no expense.
you managed to establish that because they have no easement in place
Yep.
for that pole and
All that
for the
transformer.
transformer. So you managed to leverage that. That's something your solicitor has done?
No,
or
I just
you've
wrote to
done it
them.
yourself.
I just
So
wrote to them
if
and
you
said,
find...
please tell me what the way leave situation is. It was very silent. And then I got a letter that said, we'll give you £2,000 if you sign this for 14 years. And I went, no. And nowhere in the letter did it say, we don't have a way leave. It was kind of like, wait a second, guys. So I phoned them up and said, wait a second. And they were like, right, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to start a process of removal? I was like, yeah, I don't want to remove it. I just want it underground. And they were
Very
like,
smart.
okay. So we've been negotiating with them, and they've been great. Actually, when I'm dealing with the actual guys who are doing it, they're brilliant. Actually, once the system started, they're very, very, very good. Getting to that kickoff was, it's just a bit slow, but since then they've been amazing.
So everybody will benefit from that because visually this will have gone.
Yeah, so all the way down, 2 poles up that way, and that pole another sort of 30 metres beyond the far pole there. So
actually the whole overhead cable...
Well, yeah, all the way past off our
Fantastic.
land and a bit further. So it's going to make a big impact on the... The only sad thing about it, and I am feeling a bit bad about this, is the house martins like to sit on the cable. So a big part of the kind of the holistic planning package are the improvements that we're making, with a lot of different species going in along the margins of the stream, opening up the stream bank to improve the biodiversity there. This is going to become a damp meadow, wildflower meadow. It's a specific damp wildflower meadow. That's going to be more sort of meadow on that side, and then into the...
Offering these environmental enhancements, that has helped your planning case?
It's all part of I hate the phrase, but the mood music.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Is
Right.
that, I don't think often with planning it's
politics. You're
it's
suggesting it's
yeah.
politics.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
about
yeah,
the political charm.
But it's also
don't
about
say-
showing that it's a high quality development and that you care, and actually and that's why I think it's so important to have a very high quality planning application where the drawings are beautiful and well considered, that everything is written really clearly, that you over deliver, because the planners look at it and they think 2 things. They think, well, if they've taken the time and energy to get the planning application this good, they're going to build a good building. That helps. That's what they want, in the end of the day. And secondly, they're going to go, if we reject this without absolute watertight case, they're going to hit me with an appeal, and I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours and hours increasing my workload dealing with this. I'm going to have to think twice about this.
On that point, let's go look at some
Let's
drawings.
go and enjoy it.